Alrighty, guys, and welcome back to another podcast here on the Broadwater of the Gold Coast. Same three guys, Jason, Chris, and Sam, here to give you some chat about motivation today, and what motivates us, and the stories that we've learnt and can tell from other people and from our experience in both work and business. And I think it's a very important thing to talk about: is what motivates you to get it done, and what motivates you to set your goals and where you want to be with your life. So let's start off. Sam, what motivates you?
I knew you'd ask that directly. I think for me, a lot of it is started off as people-based, but it's really turned into a self journey of it. What actually motivates me, being told I can't do something, ultimately. That's a big one. I was having breakfast with a mate this morning, and he was talking about his sort of experience growing up, and I reflected a bit on mine, and I was told a lot that I couldn't do something, and that motivated me. That was a big driving force.
What were you told you couldn't do?
So I guess it was, I said I'm going to live overseas. I'm going to move to Brisbane and get a job as an engineer. Things that coming from a small country town weren't that out there, but it was enough where, a lot of people would be like, oh, your head's in the clouds. You're a dreamer. Good luck to you. But You're not going to do all those things. And 3 to 5 years, done. Yeah.
And you think it was that fueled you, was people telling you, oh, you can't do that?
Yeah, I didn't really realise until you asked me.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things of what motivates you is question one, but then what? Then what? That's what I want to talk about, is how do you get that motivation and drive it into a result?
Okay.
So what motivates you is, it's a very difficult question to ask, but I think that's one thing that I can really think of. The other thing is competitiveness. I do have a bit of competitiveness, and I think it's a healthy level where I want the people I'm competing against to win, to do well, to be the best they can be, and that'll make me be better. Like, you're only as good as your competition. But I definitely have competitiveness. Like, if someone rolls out a soccer ball and says, let's go, all of a sudden,
it's on. It's on.
It's on. Yeah.
On the pitch. Yeah, for me, it's much like Sam, but it's that chasing a better version of myself, I would guess. It's what more can I do? Where can I go? And like Sam, I've been told I can't do a lot of things along my journey so far. When I was back at school, I got told, I couldn't do certain mathematics courses, but then I did them anyway. And then I got told towards the end of grade 12, oh, you should probably go get a trade. I don't know if you're capable of that engineering side of things, which I've got no problem with people with trades. My family's all in trades. But I was like, no, I don't want that for me. So I just still did it anyway. And then when I was working, I got told, oh, you can't do uni and work at the same time with what you're doing, working 100-hour weeks and whatnot. And then I just did it anyway. And from the outside in, I don't know what it really looked like, but for me, it was just pushing my ability and seeing what I was capable of and what I could do. And it was chasing that better version of myself.
And it culminates.
Yeah.
You achieve one thing that you told you couldn't do, and then you get this aha moment, and you're like, hang on, I don't have to live the narrative.
Yep.
You can actually challenge yourself to accomplish things that you didn't think were possible. And it could start off with bench pressing 50 kilos or doing a university degree or whatever it is.
It's believing in your ability too, because a lot of people put their beliefs on what they perceive your ability to be. Like these teachers that were telling me I couldn't do certain things, but me, in my heart, I knew I can do this. I'm capable of doing this. And they don't... A lot of people judge you on, like what they see, but they don't understand your drive, your ambition, and your mission.
Yep.
And when they put their thoughts on that, and if you have that willpower and the mindset of your goals, nothing will influence... No external force will come in and change that.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. For me, motivation is very similar to you, Chris. I think it's all about becoming the best version of yourself that you're capable of. I mean, I had a friend. This is going back I don't know, 2 or 3 years now, who came to me, and she was having a bad time. I don't think she really liked what she was doing for work or studying at uni and all this stuff. And she said she was running out of motivation, and how do you sort of fix that? And she asked me as a friend, and I just said, look,
it's a good question to ask.
yeah, and I said, pretty much, picture yourself, but the ultimate version of yourself. What does the ultimate version of you do when they wake up? Or what time do they wake up? Do they get up at sunrise? Do they work out straight away? What does the ultimate version of you look like in a day?
Yeah.
And she went, oh, damn. And I'm just like, now compare that with what you actually do in a day. And she went, ooh.
Yeah. It's a good point.
I mean, I said that to her.
Potential.
And then I didn't realize what I'd unlocked in myself either by even just saying that. And because she asked me the question, it made me think. And I said, okay, well, if I was thinking about what motivates me, it's becoming the best version of myself.
Yeah.
So what is the best version of yourself, and what are the things you want to achieve? Well, I think you need to experience a bit of life first to understand what it is you want to achieve with your life.
That's right.
Whether that's financially, whether that's just out of work satisfaction, fitness, whatever it is your goals that you want to set in your life are. It's all about knowing what they are and then reverse engineering it to go, okay, well, if I want to be here in 5 years,
What do I need to do?
what do I need to do now? What habits do I need to change now
Who
so
do
that
I
I
need to
get
be?
there in 5 years? Who do I need to be?
Hmm.
If I want to be ripped and have a six-pack in a year's time, what do I need to do with my day? What's that version of me doing
What
right
do
now?
I need to do today?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now.
Today.
Yeah.
If my goal is to have a six-pack, what do I need to do from this moment on?
Yeah.
And write out that program and stick to it.
Yep. Because that
It's commitment.
Discipline.
100%.
It's discipline and commitment, persistence and habits
be
that get
accountable.
you to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Be accountable.
Accountable
Have
is
some
a huge
measurable
factor.
aspects of that journey and say, well, this is where I wanted to be at this time. Am I there? Yes or no? And
Yeah.
if it's a no, don't fall off and go, oh, it was too hard.
yeah.
Why didn't I achieve it?
Yep.
Was it unachievable or did I not work hard enough?
Don't
And
make
do a
excuses.
feedback loop.
That's the biggest thing, man. Everybody loves to make excuses for
Oh,
themselves.
I can't work out today. It's raining. It's a bit cold.
I'd rather stay home
I'm
and
just
watch
gonna
Netflix.
stay home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. The weather. What the weather held you back
Yeah.
on your goals?
Yeah.
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 How much do you
It's-
really
it's-
want
it's,
this?
It's
Yeah.
accountability.
Yeah.
Be accountable.
Be
to
accountable.
achieve your goals.
100%.
I think it has a lot to do with your social circles
It's a big factor.
as well.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people can have big dreams, and that's great. And, we need a world full of people like that. But a lot of people don't know how to execute. A hell of a lot of people don't know how to execute.
Just quickly on that, it's important to know your own strengths and weaknesses. There's a spectrum of conceptual thinkers and people that are good at attention to detail and implementation and discipline and then everything in between. And it's really good to understand within yourself so you can focus on your strengths and weaknesses. And when you're creating teams, potentially
Delegate.
have
Always
people
delegate.
within your team
Yep.
that are good at your weaknesses.
Yep.
That's right. You got to get people that are smarter than you around you, and they can complement your weaknesses.
100%.
But yeah, delegate. It's a good one.
Yep. And learn to trust the people you delegate to. That's a huge one for a lot of people. They micromanage.
It's a lot of it touches on the principle of leadership, and it's becoming a leader within yourself for yourself. Lead and follow yourself. Set that intention and follow the implementation and the concept. Carry out the plan. Be that whole factor of a leader follower.
Something that
relationship
come
within
into my
yourself.
mind when you bring that up is Jocko Willink.
He's a great
Extreme
example of
Ownership,
it.
his book. Great
Yeah.
book. If anyone hasn't read that, you should give that a read. And
Yeah.
it talks all about being a leader and being accountable for everything that happens in your life. Everything around you is a result of you.
That's true.
It's being accountable,
Being
being a leader.
Again, the excuse factor, the blame factors, all those
That's
things.
right.
Eliminate them. It's poison.
It's poison, man.
Be
Poison.
accountable.
Because you can look at your life, and I'm just going to use this as an example because it's something I understand. You are the chairman of your own life, right? You run that board of directors. You can vote in and vote out the other people, the management teams, the
Yeah.
staff. You can do whatever the hell you want to make sure that company's running the best it can. You are the chairman of your own life. You can cut people out anytime you want. You can get people into your life anytime you want. You can make changes to the way you eat, to this, what you're doing for hobbies. You can change anything you want in your life. to become that ultimate version of yourself. If you looked at, and again, I'm using it as an example because it's something I understand. If I looked at myself like a company and I knew all the optimum ways to feed myself and get the information I need in order to succeed in my life and be that ultimate version of myself, there's a hell of a lot of things I would change.
Yeah.
Because I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And I think to find perfection is a very hard thing. And I think it's something that a very small amount of people in the world will ever achieve in their own, even in their own minds.
I don't think anyone does. I don't think anyone achieves perfection.
Yeah. But when you think about the fact that you're in control of your life and your body and the things that you achieve and want to be,
yeah,
and you make yourself accountable and you have measurable outcomes,
yeah,
your life will change. Because
that is a huge factor.
you are so used to just going through life going, okay, this is comfort, this is good, this is here, this is whatever.
Being a product of your environment.
And making excuses for maybe not being where you want it to be. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, I went through a bad breakup, so I'm not as happy as I could be. That's completely on you, bro.
Break the mold.
Yeah.
Break it.
Set your goals.
Make yourself accountable.
Work towards
and
them.
be tough on yourself.
Yeah.
Be tough on yourself. Too many people are too weak on themselves. And
fragile.
Very fragile. And like we've all been there. But it takes overcoming that being fragile to realize that you need to be hard on yourself to change. You need to be critical of yourself.
Comes down
change.
to...
But people don't like being critical of themselves. They just don't. They naturally want to love themselves. And self-love is great, don't get me wrong. But if there's things you need to change, don't love the things that you're too scared to change or you don't want to change because you don't want to work hard enough at it.
I think, a lot of it comes down to being true to yourself. You know, like as Shakespeare put it, to thine own self be true. It's so true. You have to get to your optimum self. You have to break the fabric
You have to be
of
vulnerable.
who you are. You have to put yourself in a vulnerable situation, dive deep into yourself. You know, everyone wants to get to the top of the mountain, but no one wants to get to the core of the mountain and understand who they are before they get to the top.
Yeah.
And you need to do that to get to the next level.
Know yourself.
You have to know yourself.
Yeah. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yep.
Know
you have
it
to
all.
know it and accept it.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
And then go,
Accepting it.
okay,
Yeah.
this is who I am. Work with it. And then you know your strengths, your weaknesses,
Yeah.
who you are. And it's a continuing journey.
Because you've got to set your intention. Where do I want to get to? How do I get there? The next question is, where am I?
Yep.
Where am I on that journey?
That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Where is my consciousness right now?
And it's easy if it's a six-pack, you know. But then when you break it down, there's actually a lot of issues in that. It's like, oh, I don't have a six-pack. It's because I eat chocolate at night. Well, why do you eat chocolate at night? Oh, it's because I'm not happy about this. And then I go to that. And then you actually find all these different layers of things that you don't actually want to deal with. And it's like, no, break them
That's
down,
right.
deal with them, and get yourself into a position where you've got a strong platform to give yourself every chance to get to that goal.
Yep.
That's right.
Know yourself.
Definitely. And I think that goes for any type of goal you're trying to set for yourself. It's not just know yourself, but also know what you're getting yourself in for. Because some people can set these goals and not fully which is also fine, by the way, but not fully understand what it takes, number one, and everything they have to go through to get to that point.
Yeah.
And make sure it's your goal. A
Yes.
lot of young people get trapped in, I want to be rich. Whatever it takes, I just want to make money. Because that's what the movies tell me that will make me happy.
Yep.
And it's like, is that your goal?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be tough. It's going to be challenging.
And why? Why is it your goal? Why do you want that money? Why do you want that car?
You got to write
Why
down
do you want that
100
house?
reasons why you
gotta
want something.
Dive into you to understand why you want what you want from life.
Yep.
Before you set your goal, understand yourself.
Definitely.
What motivates you?
Are you setting the goal that you want yourself to be?
Or is it the goal that you thought other people would be impressed with if you set and achieved?
Yeah.
But also don't be scared of stigma around certain things. Like you just mentioned like money there for an example. You know, some people want money. And why do they want money? Don't confuse that with people who actually have a genuine interest in money. And I don't mean money so they can go buy luxury things. I mean money as in like I have a genuine interest of money.
Yeah.
But it's not in the way you think. It's not like, oh, just look at him. He wants to go be showy and buy a Ferrari or something like that. I'm genuinely interested in the way the markets work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a psychological reflection of where the world's at.
Yeah.
I love money as a means of exchange and how that affects certain things around the world and what that does.
It's fascinating.
It's
From
fascinating.
From
It
a
is.
philosophical discussion.
Yeah.
What is money? This token
Yeah.
system,
Yeah.
and how is it generated, and how is it controlled, and the like. It's a fascinating.
It is extremely fascinating,
Yeah.
and like you, I'm interested in money too, more so for the consciousness behind it, the understanding, and how it is in our society, and it's used as a means of control, a means of power,
Yeah.
and then you've got
So
currency trading, businesses, frameworks are all
It's
fundamentally
all interconnected.
interconnected
Yeah.
on the basis of money,
Yeah.
and the flow of money is like oxygen
To the economy.
to the economy,
Yeah.
and the system is only as good as its oxygen flow.
Yeah.
So anyone's business needs to have a healthy source of cash flow, and to do that, you have to understand economics. You
Yeah.
have to understand finance.
You have to understand debt and equity. You have to understand
You
it.
have to understand the flow of money and what
Yeah.
money is, and it's not a negative thing. A lot of people have a negative stigma to money because.
well,
of social
because
media and what
beliefs,
people
yeah.
are trying to portray about
well, it's
money.
because
It's
a
ridiculous.
lot of people think it's going to give them happiness, and they chase it, and they realize it doesn't, and they're like, they start flashing it around to be like, well, maybe if I buy the Ferrari, I'll be happy, and it's like, no, it doesn't give you happiness, like. And then other people will pretend they have money when they don't.
They just got a heap of debt and a heap of liability.
And then you get into that social media aspect of it just becoming a negative thing, when really it's not. It's the optimized trade concept. It perfected the shantytown market of, I'll give you 5 kilos of beef if you give me 3 bags of rice. It's like, how can we make this more efficient?
Yep. It's a very, 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 very interesting topic, which we'll go to more in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to focus on that motivation thing today.
Freedom is a big thing for me, and I think that's why I accumulate money. It gives me freedom.
Yep.
Down the track.
For sure. So when I think of motivation too, I also think of all the different people I've met in my life. And I'm not going to call them mentors, because I think the classic stigma around a mentor is you have one.
Yeah.
And then you follow them and you listen to them and basically you become them. That, like, to me, I look at the whole Mike and Harvey Specter thing in Suits. Mike basically became a version of Harvey Specter because, he respected Harvey Specter and that's who he wanted to be in that. What I like to do is take all of the very interesting people that I've met in my life in different avenues. Some could have money, some could not, but they're very rich in their health and all this, and it's taking that different cross section of all the things that will make the ultimate version of you, and finding in them what can help you. So reverse engineering what they're doing with their life to go, okay, I can take a slice of that and apply it to my life, or I can learn something from you.
Yeah, that's key.
That's what it's about.
And go forward.
Yeah.
That's key.
Do you guys have any, people in particular, without naming names, you can say, that's something from that person I took forward and it's helped me a lot?
Yeah, for sure. I've met a few people actually that have had a lot of influence in my life, and one of them specifically really sat me down and told me, why do you want what you want, and have you really looked into the core of who you are as a person? And it sort of hit me, you think you sort of know who you are until you sit back in your own space and time and go through the depths of who you are and why you want what you want. And I think for me, that's given me a lot more clarity on my life and where I want it to go. And you have a deeper understanding of what makes you happy and why you want what you want. And it's just opened up another perspective. And I feel like a lot of things in my life have shifted as a result of that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the decisions in life that I've made after that point have definitely been different.
Because of that.
Yeah, and it's had a huge influence. And another mentor, you could say, also told me, because I was running a few different things in my life at the time and had a few ideas, and he sat me down and he's like, look, Chris, there's no other options. It's option A and that is it. You do not have option B.
So
And
give it your all.
Yeah, give it your all.
Mm.
And it really hit me too. Like, well, yeah, it's right. You gotta have a channel and focus of your energy on the one ultimate goal. Because if you have a backup plan, you're always going to be thinking of that safety net.
For sure.
And you won't be giving your goal A 100% because if things go south and when things get tough,
hit the red button.
I'm just going to hit the abort button, and I'm just gonna fall back on this.
Yeah.
He's like, no, there's no other option. It is that, and that is it.
See, I'm definitely a person that struggles with that. I like to have 3-4 different things on the go all at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely feel like I have enough energy at the moment to do that.
Yeah.
And also, I hate to be stuck doing one thing the whole time. I could have times of euphoria, like focusing on one thing. But then I'm like, okay, I have enough mental, like I'll learn that one thing and I'll get really good at it and I'll nail it. But I want to keep doing that, but I also want to start doing other things. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go down this path and then this path and then this path, but I want to keep doing them all. I struggle to give 1,000% of my energy to one thing because I know that so far, don't get me wrong, so far, none of those one things has required 100% of my mental capacity or energy.
Yeah.
It hasn't required that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I lie. It's required it for a certain amount of time.
duration.
Yeah.
For duration.
You tap in and then you tap out.
You don't tap out. You tap in and then you go, okay, well, I can do this running at 30% instead of 100% for 2 years, which it was.
Okay.
So it's like, okay,
So you got the accelerator.
100%.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, well, I've nailed that one. Now what about this path or this path or this path?
Yeah.
And then I like to go down all different paths and try and do a bunch of different things. But I totally understand why somebody would say focus on one thing and do it properly.
Yeah.
I get it. I do get it.
I think because, like they look at you, right? These are people that are a lot older than me, 15, 20 years older than me. And they've been there, done that.
Yeah,
These guys are successful people.
Yeah.
They've done the journey. They've got to their place and they can see it. And you have to take, what they're saying on board because they look at you and they have a perspective of you and then they go, I think if he just focuses on that more, it'll push him in that direction.
Yeah. And it's
to where he wants to go. And for you who hasn't been on that journey yet,
It's hard to see.
It's hard to see it and it's hard to grasp the information and implement the information.
But it's hard to argue with them because they've been there and they've proven it.
That's right.
But what about the one that didn't? The one that didn't have option B and focused on option A every day of his life with
And
100% dedication. You're not going to him for inspirational advice. He doesn't have a platform to say.
I bet you there's a hell of a lot more of them on the
works.
street than.
So
the guy
this
you're listening to.
this
Literally.
guy
So-
actually he
It's flawed.
he come to Australia with virtually nothing but his family and maybe a little bit of money just to survive, and he worked extremely hard, got into property, built up his portfolio, lost it all when he was 30, and then had to start from scratch again.
Yeah.
But he still started with that same goal, that same mindset, that same focus and drive.
Yeah.
And now he's built that empire back up tenfold.
And work harder than the person next to you, because a person like that is going to work harder. So in Australia, we're brought up to say, yeah, you work 38-hour weeks, go and do a course or get a trade and work your 38 hours a week, you'll have a comfortable life. And that's true. If you want to be the exceptional one, you do 100 hours a week. And it's like, I'm either studying or you just get fanatical with it. And it's just self-improvement, self-betterment. And it's like, I'm not going to accept being the standard, being the average and going through that linear progression in life.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the head start. I'm going to get the second degree, get the extracurricular activities over here, or I'm going to work 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week. The difference between someone that works 40 hours a week and someone that works 55 hours a week, statistically, is exponentially beneficial to their income, to their career progressions and the like. You don't have to be the 1 in a million exception. You just have to be the one in the room that's better. Like when there's a promotion that comes up, you're not competing with the world, you're just competing with
in your office.
Your office.
That's right.
So just be slightly better than everyone else and you're the best.
Yeah. In your little world. That's a good way to look at it.
But yeah, back to your focus on one point. It absolutely works. It's a great thing. But I'm more of a pillars person. I kind of
Pillars
think,
in alignment with your one goal, or are they?
it's a good question.
Or are they
Yeah.
on different angles?
It's a good
where
question.
they're a different channel.
Because I'd say it's pillars in alignment with my one goal, but my one goal is probably too general, and I need to narrow it down and focus more on it and have a pillar approach.
Because pillars in alignment are extremely good because it's like compounding your successes.
Yeah.
So, like for me, there's a simple framework like a triangle. You know, you have your one core skill, and you can build that skill up to a point where then you can form a business from that skill. So then you open up another avenue, another pillar. And then once you have your business running from your core skill and you grow that up as another strong pillar, you can have your third, which will be your investment funnels. And then you can, go into your property, into your stocks, into your bonds, whatever suits your fancy. And you can get that triangle working for you.
I think it goes back to setting your goals is important, because if you set the right goal, you're going to be passionate about it. And passion is one of the most purest forms of energy that will dedicate you to become fully embodied in whatever your goal is. Setting the right goal, having the passion to achieve it, you will be putting 100 hours a week into it because you absolutely love it. You're not working.
It doesn't feel
you're
like
doing
work.
your passion.
Yeah.
And it's that age-old thing of do what you love for work. You never work a day in your life. There's a lot of truth to it, and you'll find a lot of success in following your genuine interests and passions.
However, don't get sucked in the false promise that you're going to be having a good time every day.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you're doing something you love.
You've got to understand the consequences.
Man, you got to understand
bad.
the good and bad about what you're doing. And when you are going through the bad, learn to improve. Because otherwise you'll make the same mistakes over and over again. I've always been an advocate for learning from your own mistakes. I find it, I ask my parents, I've always found it difficult to learn from what other people have told me. I always like to learn from myself, make my own mistakes, and then learn from that.
Yeah.
And
trial and error.
But coming back to somebody who's maybe motivated me a little bit, it won't be in the same way that you think. I've definitely learnt a lot of things from a lot of different people, but I wouldn't say I've found that one person. Like I could say, Elon Musk. I don't know Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I can look at the 4 different things that he's doing, going down to his pillars. Like it's not one thing he's focusing on. It's like tons of different things, and he's able to do that. Like I look up to that, and I aim to achieve that. But I don't know Elon. But so looking at the people I know, one of the biggest things is also learning what you don't want after you thought you wanted it. Like I became friends with a guy who was in real estate when I was a bit younger at university, and he seemed to have the life. It was great, fast cars, expensive champagne all the time, and at that age I was like, hell yeah, that's what I want. Cool. Then I got to know the guy a bit better, and he was in his late 20s. He'd done very well for himself, and I asked him one time, why, after it's been like a year of you've made it, why do you still drink so much? Why are you still partying so much? Why are you doing this? Why?
Yeah.
Like, because you think you can get to a point, you'll celebrate, you pop the champagne, and then, just calm down and, just carry on with your life. It was like bam, bam, bam. And he turned around and he told me, he said, Jace, he came from just your normal humble background, went to a state school, and then he decided, he wants more out of his life than this. And so he went and got his real estate degree, spent a lot of time on it, and, went into that world and became very successful at a very young age. I'm talking like, I think when he was 27, 28, he was making $1 million a year, like selling real estate. Like, and he owned his own real estate company. Great. Well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, he turned around to me and he said, when I was younger and I was aiming for these things and looking at it, he got there very quickly. And he went, is this it? Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh. So he spent all of his time focusing on that one thing, got to the top really quickly, and then went, well now what?
It goes back to...
That's not what I really wanted.
It's so important.
I'm not saying it's not what he wanted.
Yeah.
I'm saying he could be damn passionate about it.
Yeah.
One thing I took from that was don't get yourself to a point where you think you've achieved it and you're done.
Yeah.
Always look to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah.
Because like I said before, like I'll give something 100% for a year or two, and I'm like, okay, well now what?
Yeah, now what?
I don't want to be stuck down that one channel for the rest of my life going, okay, well I'm here and it's not what I thought. I want to be like, oh man, I could be doing 3 or 4, 5 different things, if I wanted to, and I could do them well. Just takes a lot of energy and passion and power, but like it's energy I want to give to something.
Yeah.
And I think it's always going to take, like what Sam was saying before, always bettering yourself, becoming that better version of yourself, unlocking new levels of yourself you didn't know even existed up until you got to a certain point.
And you can only do that by starting and setting small
Exactly.
goals and doing things
Yeah.
and then going, I was capable of that. What else
Yeah,
can I do?
100%.
What else can I do? What else can I do? And
Yeah.
you'll just keep
It becomes
hitting it.
addictive.
It does.
Exactly. You've got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
So I disagree to an extent. You've got to be careful with
Okay.
that. If you're just constantly chasing these cherries and chomping them and saying, well, that one tasted not as good as I thought it was. What's the next cherry? I'll just aim for 5 cherries at once. You've got to be careful with that and set the right goals. What's truly bringing you happiness in life?
Yeah.
And it may not be being that, when you're a kid, you're probably more brainwashed to think that it's the making a lot of money or it's having status of nice things and the like.
Yeah.
You really want to take a step back and go, what really brings me happiness in life? And then work towards that as a goal. And it's not the status of saying,
I
I've
agree.
got this and that and this, I've accomplished this
Yeah.
and that and this.
Yeah, I agree.
It's fugazi.
The way I like to look at it is like, you have your pie chart of you as a person and your life, okay, and all the different things that you get out of your life. So when you think about happiness and family and love and the people you're with and the human connection, that means more to me than anything else on this planet. So take that pie chart, slice it in half, and put in Shantina, my fiance, my parents, my friends, everything else that means the world to me. And I would give up everything else. Everything else for them. Then the other half is basically, well, I'm here and I'm human and I got to do something with my time.
Yeah.
Okay? So what am I going to do with that time?
Yeah.
I'm going to smash it. I'm going to try and do as many things as I can while I'm here on this planet to go, damn, I lived a fulfilling life and look at all the shit that I was able to do because I made the decision to do that. So don't get it wrong. I'm not saying, this is more important.
Yeah.
Half of that is filled up with the most important things. The other half is just my time on this planet.
When you're working,
When I'm working.
you're working.
Exactly.
You're working hard.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of the time in your typical 9-to-5 jobs, people are just
Another day, another dollar.
just floating along, drifting through the day.
Yep.
Do a couple of hours work,
Yep.
really, in the whole day.
Yep.
Where I'm really trying to utilize every hour because I don't
Exactly.
want to be here. I've got other stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
So if I'm sacrificing, I want it to be purposeful.
Yeah.
I want it to be paying off
Yeah.
because it's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we delved a little bit further into that.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we're
for sure.
focusing on that 50%
Yeah, 100%.
aspect.
Yeah. But it comes down to as well, like, I'm like me. This is just again talking about me. I'm not passionate about like one specific product or service
Yeah.
or whatever.
No.
I'm passionate about business in general.
Yeah.
If you know how to run a business, it doesn't matter what it is. That's why people will make fortunes, lose them. They'll make it back again.
That's right.
And it could be in something completely different. These people just know how to work the system of life that we live in and the economy that we live in.
Yeah.
It's a skill. And you can apply that skill to anything.
That's right.
It's a mindset, it's a skill, it's about having that knowledge
Yeah.
that can take you somewhere.
Whether
you're a comedian.
Jordan Belfort example.
Yeah, a little bit. A little
He
bit.
knew how to make money.
He knew how to
lost
make
it all.
money.
He made it all again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But without
But,
with being less of a salesman, hopefully.
Yeah.
He was. Do you like that aspect of him?
Nah.
No, me either.
Yeah.
He's got some good stories though.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
When
But
life gives you lemons.
yeah, I like to stick within the legalities of the law.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's about taking your passion and what you like doing and applying that. So when you say you're doing 5 different things, you're not really doing 5 different things. You're taking that one set of skills that you have and just applying it in 5 different areas.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So really, I'm focusing 100% of my time on business and knowing how a company works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than, okay, I'm running this and this and this.
Mm.
I'm running them all the same way. It's just 5 different products or services.
Yeah.
It's all. It's
And
to me,
you're
it's just
gonna
business.
learn and improve on each leg of that.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Which is you running in
It's
parallel.
basically just different verticals of the same thing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And when you know how a company works, that's when you can also dive into investing. You have a diverse a portfolio.
Compounding your skills.
You don't just put 100% of your money into one company.
So
You diversify.
so you would
because
get-
it's the same thing, just a different product or service.
You
You
would
know
get-
how to analyze that company.
Yeah.
So analyze 100. Don't analyze one. You'd be
You
stupid.
would get bored with repetition.
Hell yeah.
Not everyone's programmed that way. I
Yeah.
think we are, for sure. Bored with repetition. Conceptual thinker, wanting to understand how things work and then somewhat master them. And then once that's autopilot, on to the next one.
On to
Yeah.
the next. It's like solving a puzzle.
Yeah.
It's important. Like it's so important to have purpose in life and keep driving that purpose in life and having that motivation. So it's a spiritual confliction of how motivated do you get?
Yeah. Yeah.
Give it all and see how you go. And
That's it.
I just hate the stigma it comes with.
because there's a stigma, I can
There's a
feel
big
it.
There is
stigma.
a big
It's
stigma.
a big
feel it.
I feel like Australia has a big tall poppy
Well, the tall poppy
stigma.
syndrome.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see you doing more than
That's right.
them.
Yeah.
Makes them feel bad.
Jealousy.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't hold you back.
No way. You got to live in your own little bubble.
Celebrate
You
other
have to.
people's
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
Because
Be happy for
people
them. Be genuinely happy
Yeah,
for other
definitely.
people's success.
people
Yeah.
have different perceptions of success. So your perception of success is to, become a philanthropist, let's say, and help people. Put a lot of your income into charitable funds.
Definitely.
But a lot of other people will just think of success as, oh, he just wants a heap of money for himself. He just wants to get that house and a car and
Yeah, exactly.
blow it all at the casino or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what people think, but it's people's perceptions
It's considered
of
as
success.
greed. It's considered as greed, and
Yeah.
it's kind of in our DNA to be weary of greed. Like if we had a culture of a tribe of 30 people and one of them's greedy, 3 people don't eat.
Yeah.
The tribe kills that person, the greedy
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
We're genetically modified to distance ourselves from greed. It's it's why it's a sin.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to gather a lot of wealth, at what point is that greedy? At our level of society, it's quite doesn't take much to go, oh, they're being greedy. It's like,
Yeah.
well, are
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Be a bit more understanding of everyone's situation.
Definitely.
In terms of motivation and things like that, I think a lot of the key aspects that I implement in my life is grit and consistency, and courage as well to take that step and push forward for your next goal. I feel like that's a really, really big fundamental
It is.
part.
It's hard
to-
work.
It is hard work.
Put in the hard
and
work.
Understanding the repercussions of your choices and knowing, all right, if I want to start this business, I've got to give it my all, and I could be working 120 hour weeks, whatever it is, nights where I might not sleep, and I'll be grinding, and I accept that. And it's about going through those motions, accepting what you'll be in for, and also accepting the unknowns, I guess, that you'll face along the way and the challenges that you'll have to overcome. It's, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, and it's understanding that, for 3 to 5 years, I'm going to sacrifice everything to get this off the ground. And the ultimate goal down the track is to have a successful business somewhat running itself. And then I have freedom.
Yeah.
But for 3 to 5 years,
That's
I'm
it.
100% dedicated to get it off the
It's
ground.
wielding your sword and going to battle and fully accepting that.
Yeah.
Everything that's
Taking the risk.
involved.
Yeah, definitely. I've just seen a whale jump. Sorry, a bit distracted.
Really?
Yeah, it's just back there.
Unreal.
I like the feeling that you get when you actually did something. You didn't just talk about it. Accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
Broadwater, for example, and this whole podcast. We got together and went, guys, how many people have got together and said, oh, we should do something, or let's do this? I mean, are you really friends if you haven't tried to start a business once before in the past? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even just making the decision to invest your mind and your time into something and then actually go and do it, execute, you know,
cultivate your idea into reality.
It's actually something that's everybody thinks it looks easy. Anybody can go and do this and stuff, and you can. Don't get me wrong. Anybody could do this.
For sure.
Start a podcast, make
Just
some
get
videos,
your
do
phone
whatever.
out, chuck it up, and talk some
But
smack with some mates.
making that mental decision to actually put yourself out there in front of other people, whether it's a business, a podcast, you're going to be in a movie, whatever it is, you take that risk of looking like an idiot, or what are people going to say about me, or any of this. And that in itself would discourage a lot of people from taking that leap of faith. And what am I doing? Should I be doing this? What are people going to say? What are people going to think of me? As soon as you can get yourself past that and realize that the journey you're on and the mission you're on in your own life is so much bigger than what anybody else is thinking of what you're doing.
For sure. They don't know the vision.
They don't know.
They don't know your vision.
Exactly.
So their input, negative input, isn't valid if your goal, your ultimate goal, has the best intentions
Exactly.
for everyone else around.
And you know what? If what you're doing is changing your life for the better, what the hell are they to say?
Exactly. Who cares what they think?
Exactly.
So
Sorry, yeah?
to break it down,
Mm-hmm.
the toolkit to success. So know yourself, set your goal. What's your goal? Whether it's a 3 year, 5 year, it's going to depend on the goal. Let's say it's a 3 year goal, set that goal, and then develop a rough plan on how to achieve it.
It's a roadmap.
And then break that down into weekly, daily, hour tasks, what needs to be done. So I need to dedicate 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours to this, and then shape your life around that. And you'll find there's so many hours in the day that we just kind of waste with junk. And sure, that's fine. But if you want to be the exceptional, you've got to fill that junk with good things. Like I did this competition last year, how far you could run in a month. And we all came out of it and said, wow, like you could do anything. And the amount of time in a day that's filled with junk, it was probably 5 or 6 hours that you just find that you can just dedicate to it.
It's ridiculous. Like, how many hours a day do we spend on our phones?
Oh,
Too much.
yeah, too much.
Way too much. And it's all nonsense. Absolute rubbish. I reckon I could get enough good stuff out of social media, motivation, news, whatever, the good news.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
10, 20 minutes a day.
Is what you're doing taking you closer to your goal or moving you further away?
Good way to think about it.
Ask yourself that question before you do anything.
Yep.
Is going out tonight just to get on the piss for no valid reason going to take me closer to my goal or move me further away?
Yep.
Or am I going out to mingle with potential business partners or like-minded people to discuss intellectual things?
Yeah.
Like there's different edges of the sword. But ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now going to move me closer to my
direction
goal
I want to go.
or further away from my goal?
Yeah.
And be real with that.
Alcohol is a big limiting factor. You know, when you drink, it lowers your ambitions, and you'll have a day or two of recovery where you're not giving any of those sort of thoughts towards improvements.
In fact, it's the
progression.
opposite.
For sure.
And
And if
being
you
self-critical
drink
in
every
all the worst
weekend,
ways.
There's your 2 days gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I actually went off the alcohol for maybe 2.5 to 3 months, and oh man, I noticed the biggest changes when I went back on the booze. I had one night I didn't even have that much at all, and the next day I was just scattered. And you realize the effect that it has on your brain and your body when you remove it from your system for an extended period of time. And then you realize all those days where you haven't been productive, you haven't been thinking straight, and what impact that has had on your choices and where you are.
Yeah.
You know, why am I where I am right now? It's because of all the accumulation of the choices and decisions I've made along my journey of time.
For sure.
And the people I've been around and their influence in my life as well. So you have to be, I think, very careful with this and really conscious about who you're around, why you're around them, and what their influence is on your life. Is it positive? Is it negative? And where is that going to lead you?
Yep. And don't be scared to be uncomfortable. That's one of the biggest things I can say.
Yeah, for sure.
Find comfort in uncomfort.
Yeah.
Massively.
whether that's in your friends, whether that's in business, whether that's in meditation for the first time.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Public
Because
speaking.
Push your
when you
comfort
are
zone.
uncomfortable is when you are growing.
That's right.
And that is no word of a lie.
And then that becomes your comfort, and then you push
Absolutely.
that again.
A tip for people is when you're in that uncomfortable position, concentrate on your breathing.
Yep.
That will relax everything else, and you'll become comfortable in that uncomfortable situation.
I'm going to share a story of mine where being in the uncomfortable taught me a very, very valuable lesson. While I was at uni, I participated in something we called the Startup Hatch, and it was the inaugural year for this program. You take a business idea of yours from zero to a viable business in 30 days. And they take you through all sorts of things, programs and stuff on different days to try and make an idea into reality in 30 days. And then at the end of that 30 days, you basically pitch your idea to a big crowd and a panel. So going through this whole 30 days, it taught me a hell of a lot about what it actually takes to start a business from scratch, and the amount of research and validation that goes into something, and where you actually create value in something that's not being done. A lot of people think that starting a business is quite simple, and they go from zero to this, and this is how I'm going to do it, and here, which might work for like very basic type businesses, which we need in the community, by the way, like services businesses or anything like that.
Small business. When you're talking about a product, which when we talk about startups, we talk about innovation, right? Everybody's trying to innovate things these days and try to be a bit different. The amount of pivoting that takes place in that 30 days, it almost becomes like a part of your vocabulary, because you're using it almost every day.
Yeah.
Mm.
You start with what you think is going to be the idea in 30 days, and you've pivoted by the end to something completely different.
Right.
So you need to take the ego and the arrogance and everything out of business.
Yeah.
When you're starting something, because
You gotta be malleable and
you're going to be
flexible.
wrong.
Yeah.
You are going to be wrong, and your idea will fail, and it won't hold up to the stress of other people's external validation.
Acceptance of change.
Exactly. You have to be accepting to change and whatever is coming your way. And because the whole process was accelerated in 30 days, you're consuming a hell of a lot of information, trying a hell of a lot of new things, and going from there. But the biggest thing I learned from being uncomfortable was on the night of the pitch. So we all know Shark Tank, the show.
Yeah.
So Steve Baxter from Shark Tank was sitting on that panel that night.
Damn.
In front of 300 people. And I was pitching an idea for something similar to Acorns in the financial services industry. And at this point in time, I hadn't had much experience in funds management. I have a lot more now, know how it all works and all the legalities behind it and et cetera.
Acorn's that app where you buy something and then it rounds it up and then gets invested
That's
into.
correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what Acorns is. And so I had a similar idea, but instead of putting the money from the raisings from that way into something like a mutual fund or fairly risk-off
Built for
type
startups.
scenarios, I was looking for like hedge fund startups
Yeah.
and like maybe some venture cap stuff to put your money in, way more risky.
Makes more sense.
Yeah. And so I sort of pitched this idea, not understanding the full licensing requirements of being a fund manager, et cetera, back then. And I got up on stage, I pitched my idea, and Steve tore me to shreds. And for those, for those listening and watching, and you've seen Shark Tank, Steve loves to tear someone apart if they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
What I learned from that is that when you are giving a presentation, you got to know more about what you're talking about than any single person in that room.
Yeah.
For sure. You
You
got
have to.
You got to back your knowledge
But-
and your confidence as well.
Not just back yourself, know
Yeah. Know your stuff.
Don't
Yeah.
just
Otherwise,
blindly back yourself.
You're just spitting junk.
Exactly.
Be the expert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So being up on stage in front of 300 other people, well, you've just put your last 30 days. I know that's not a long time in comparison to some people, but
to get roasted
like that,
put in your place,
taught me a very, very valuable lesson about doing your homework and doing your research and knowing what the hell you are talking about before you get up and talk about it. Do not open your mouth until you know what you're doing. Or you can teach somebody else how to do it. That's something else I learned from as well. When you can teach someone how to do something, that's when you truly know.
That's when you've mastered it.
Yeah.
Until you've taught someone, because during that teaching, you're teaching yourself and reteaching yourself and solidifying the lesson.
Reiterating it.
Yeah. But what that taught me, that scenario, is I've started to get more comfortable in the uncomfortable because I learned something so valuable to me that day. And if I look at some other scenarios in my life going forward, what I took out of that and how I approached other situations, it has benefited me like you cannot believe.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Failure is important.
It's interesting that
learning from your failure.
You can learn from that.
Yeah.
Learn from something and take it forward.
Yeah. If you're not falling, you're not going hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's right.
Yeah.
And when you're failing, it's about analyzing. All right, why did I fail? What happened?
Yes.
What was the cause of that?
Yeah.
Understanding it, working with it, and moving forward, and using it as a strength.
It's a learning point.
As opposed to just getting sucked into this vortex of, what? Oh no, I failed.
Yep.
I'm not worth enough.
I could have easily crawled up in a ball and said I'm never starting a business in my life because I just got so roasted.
That's right.
But I did the opposite. A lady after the presentation, I actually had quite a few people come up to me and say, hey, I want you to go see my lawyer. He will teach you about this stuff. And I had a financial advisor saying, come and have a meeting with me in 2 weeks' time. And I did.
Right, that's
positive. Took me through the whole 9 yards and this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
And she just went, dude, all you were wrong was like this one thing, and this is how you get around that.
Yeah.
So good.
And you're like, whoa, there's people out there that even when you've perceived that you've failed, that are like, nah, dude, you're on it. You just need to like change this one thing or this or that, and they'll take you forward.
Yeah.
You can't do everything in life alone, especially business.
For sure.
You can't do it.
You have to work as a team.
100%.
There's a requirement to be able to take criticism and make it a strength. That's something I probably struggle with is being criticized and being like, oh, thank you.
Yeah,
that's great.
Constructive criticism.
I'll look to improve on that.
It's about getting uncomfortable with that uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
When someone criticizes you,
it's an attack on your ego.
What did you say? That hurt me.
Yeah.
When you can learn to go, thanks, man.
Yeah.
And legitimately feel like you've learnt something that you can improve. Not just say it so they think you didn't get to them.
Yeah.
But say it and it's so genuine because you know you learnt something. You're like, damn, thanks, bro.
100%.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
It is.
It's
because I think that was a defining moment for you. That
it was huge, man. Like it was probably, when I look back at the last 5 years of my life, it's probably one of the biggest lessons I was taught.
Well, it's one of those things now where all the decisions you've made since, you've definitely got that memory there and thought about that experience, and it's molded you when you're doing presentations in your current business and things like that.
Definitely.
So,
the memories that mold you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I remember in like grade 1, the teacher told her, we read a book, and at the end she's like, in the book all the clocks were different times when the guy would run around his house and check him, and in the end she's like, why were the clocks different? Does anyone know? And in my head I'm thinking, because it takes him time to go from that clock to that clock to that clock.
That makes sense.
But I didn't answer. I wasn't confident. I was like, I'm probably wrong.
Yeah,
I'm not that smart. And then no one answered, and then she said the answer, and that was the answer, and she's, I'm like, oh, damn it. I had the answer and I didn't answer it. Ever since then, I'd answer everything.
Yeah.
Even if I was like, I had no idea. Like, it really, those sort of memories shape who you become.
Yeah.
Learn from failures.
Definitely. I think that now is such an important time in a mid-20s time to just try something. And I think most people would be very, very surprised at what you can actually achieve when you put your mind to it.
That's right. And that thing can be anything from health to
anything
to wellness.
Anything.
Just challenge yourself in a certain way for any goal.
Could
really.
Be art.
Fitness goal. Yeah. Art.
Poems.
Yep.
Something that doesn't exist, and just be like, this would be cool if it existed.
Yeah.
Just invent it.
For sure.
Yeah. Everyone has those thoughts.
Definitely, man.
For sure. Everyone has those thoughts. Oh, I think I could do this. Because I think at the core of who we are, we are creators. We are conscious beings that have all the tools to create and manifest life and things in life. And when I was told that by one of my mentors, it really smacked me in the face. And I was like, you are so true. We have an imagination that isn't confined by anything. It's limitless. You can imagine anything in the world, or anything in the whole universe. It's not confined by time. It's not confined by dimension. You can manifest and think about anything and then create it.
I think,
This table, someone thought about this table,
yeah,
and it's now here and it's built in reality.
Yeah. I often,
These microphones.
I often think like science is driven by art. The artists make the movies, and then the scientist kid grows up, watches the movie and goes, I'm going to invent that. And then they create it. It's this balance of art and science that engineer the world.
Yep, 100%. And you do need both.
You need both.
You need both.
It's the power of a team.
Yep. And again, there might be that odd person like an Elon Musk who can master both. Very little people can do that, but that does not mean they can't execute their vision.
That's right.
Because all it takes is getting a few other people involved and invested in that vision to nail it.
Yeah.
Absolutely nail it.
Yeah.
If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Exactly.
For sure.
100%. But that comes back to that Kevin Hart podcast with Joe Rogan, where Kevin was talking about unlocking levels in his life. He was saying that he likes to treat his life like a game.
Yeah.
And it's not about the financial, where he's going in the financial path or the physical path or the mental path. He's
Better
just
version of him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's unlocking better versions of himself
That's right.
just by doing his thing, man.
That's
He's
right.
a comedian, but now he's a movie star, and he's a an influencer for Nike, and he's like all these things. And he's just going, well, dude, I'm just unlocking more levels of my life. I'm unlocking, and I'm not stopping.
And for him too, being from the hood, he's a loving husband, a loving father.
Yeah.
All these other qualities and aspects that he's learned along this journey of just
By also
growing
making
and
mistakes.
unlocking. Oh,
He
for
also
sure.
made his fair share of mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And feeding that lesson back into his community.
Yep. Big time. Like he's doing something at the moment in financial literacy. He's trying to teach guys from the ghetto and the hood and stuff.
Yeah.
Teaching them about, you can get out if you do these things and, learn about investing and learn about how money works and the world works and everything. Yeah. And he's a huge advocate for like going back and teaching those people that they're not stuck. They can get out. Just
this
like
isn't the end.
There's a lot of
Stop.
power.
Exactly.
There's a lot of power in that.
Yeah.
Limiting
He's
belief.
got the perspective to then be able to communicate it back into.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was so interesting listening to him and how he gets motivated to basically just get to that next level in life. Because he's not talking about a financial goal or anything like that. He's talking about, well, if I can do this, then I can travel more. And if I travel more, I can learn more.
That's
and
right.
that opens me up to new perspective. And you were saying we can imagine anything. Yes, to a certain extent. I haven't been to, Mexico.
Yeah.
I have an idea of what it's going to be like, but I can't really, in my head, picture what it's like to be in Mexico and be on the streets
Life
and just like
experience.
vision it.
Yeah.
It takes unlocking those levels in life to go, okay, well, I have the freedom now to go and travel to Mexico because I worked hard.
And then the people you meet in Mexico.
Yeah.
It's all about...
Unlocks their culture,
Yeah.
unlocks this. Hey, that person knows that person, and you network, and hey, what?
Yeah.
I'll give another example of how this whole getting to the next level thing has worked. Like my fiance Shantina, she spent a lot of time being a fashion model and then getting into the influencer game because the sort of two industries have meshed into one these days. And she's a grinder, man. She works so hard at her thing and what she's decided to do with her life. And that is unlocked and unlocked and unlocked and unlocked. And the people that we've been able to meet through this, and that's not why she does it though. She does it because she gets genuine enjoyment out of her job.
It's just a
and she's very lucky.
repercussion.
It's a repercussion.
Yeah.
But it levels up and levels up and levels up. Like we were
The
at
momentum builds.
It does. We were at the tennis in January, the Australian Open, and we were fortunate enough to get courtside tickets through a partnership with Kia. And we were sitting in the green room before the tennis was starting, and who walks through the door? Adrian Grenier, Vinny Chase from Entourage. Someone I had watched for years on TV. You know, he'd entertained me through ups and downs through uni, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And then here, he's just walked through the door.
In the flesh.
In the flesh. And we ended up going out that night together. Like, we all got on really well. He had his friend and a couple of girls, and Shantina and I, you know, started hanging out with them. And yeah, we all just hung out, and we ended up back at his apartment later on that night, and we were just chatting about life. And he was saying, you know, he's actually way more of like a very calm person. Like, he's nothing like his character in Entourage. And, you know, to get access to somebody like that, who's accomplished so much in their life, but is also advocating for the better now. Like, he's an environmentalist. He's doing a lot of good things. But to get to that level where you're meeting those kinds of people all because of things you've decided to do and work hard down a certain avenue, your life opens up.
For sure.
And you just think, how did that happen? Like, I literally woke up the next morning just going, did that really just happen? Like, I literally just spent the night partying with Vinny Chase. Like, in what world does that happen?
That's epic.
And it's all because you've opened up that avenue in your life. So for those people thinking that, you know, they know where their life's headed or where it's going,
break the mold.
Break the mold, man.
Put
Stop
yourself
thinking
out
that
there.
way, because you don't know what's going to happen if you put your mind to something and you go down a certain path. It doesn't matter what it is.
For sure.
If you focus your time on something and get big enough and do your thing and it open your circle up,
it's
ready
self-manifests.
to meet new people, manifest the change within yourself, and you will unlock new zones to your life you would have never imagined possible.
For sure.
Truly believe in yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
The potential within yourself.
Definitely. And believe in others. Believe that others can do the same thing.
Mm.
Encourage others to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because
that
they
momentum
need it.
builds.
They need it as well. They need it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add to the motivation section, boys?
No, that's pretty well
I think
covered.
we've covered a fair bit.
I think we covered a fair bit.
I think that's been a good chat.
Yep. To conclude, just know that you only get one life, and this is so cliche.
Exactly.
It's so cliche.
This isn't the matinee.
Yeah.
But
follow your dreams.
Yeah.
you only get one chance.
You'd
One
rather
crack,
fail at your
do
dreams
it.
than fail at something you don't
Exactly.
like doing.
Yeah.
Take a chance and just do it.
Don't be afraid.
And
100%.
I hope you've enjoyed that podcast. I think it was good to chat about, you know, what motivates us and you know, how to motivate yourself and things you can do to unlock new levels in your life. And if you are going through something at the moment and you're trying something, stick with it. Just stick with it. Keep going. See where it'll take you.
Don't give up so easy.
Don't give up. And also don't be scared to get started. That's a huge thing. Do not be scared to get started. Well, from us here on the Broadwater, that's another episode. And please like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and all of our socials on YouTube and everything. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time, and send this on to someone else that you think might need to listen.
Absolutely.
So have a good one.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.